This is Dakota News Now, your first alert station.
And good evening, everyone. I'm Brian Allen. While funding for infrastructure projects at the federal level is a little up in the air right now, those looking to bring passenger rail service to South Dakota are moving ahead with a push to build local support. They argue that even though funding may be tough to come by, educating people on what Amtrak service in the Mount Rushmore state would look like is just as important. Cooper Seamer in studio with our 9 o'clock top story tonight. Hello, Cooper.
Brian, those advocates for passenger rail service are embarking on a trip across South Dakota. These train track presentations are meant to give the public information about what the Federal Railroad Administration's long-distance service study says about possible Amtrak service in the state, as well as build a base of support. There are still many hurdles in the way for passenger rail service to become a reality in South Dakota. Many of those will have to be solved in Congress. While either chamber has yet to act on the Federal Railroad Administration's long-distance service study, advocates in South Dakota are trying to lay the groundwork for more public support.
Get one sort of a peer precedent.
That's why they're going on the road, stopping in cities along a proposed route that would serve the state end to end to show what the benefits of passenger rail service are. All Aboard Northwest co-founder and president Dan Bilka says it's one thing to talk about these possibilities online, but it's another thing to go across the state and meet with people in person to explain what they can do.
With the amount of interest, like I've heard from the general public, but just be able to go out there in person and be able to share with the long distance study what it actually means for our state and how we actually make sure we can actually see it happen.
The FRA study is final, and it now rests in the hands of Congress to pick it up. Bilka says now is the time to talk about passenger rail service in South Dakota, as key discussions are happening right now for transportation funding on a national level.
Right now, surface transportation reauthorization, which is all the federal funding and the federal programs for the surface transportation bill, is being drafted for next year. September next year is when they need to reauthorize it. So it's being drafted today.
But he says support isn't hard to find, it's just turning it into action that will really spark things at a national level.
I've had half of the amount of people who've reached out saying that they're interested in this and really curious about it. If they had reached out to the congressional delegation and actually put voice to paper, like on how transformative that would be.
Tonight's meeting downtown was only the first of more train track presentations planned for this week. Those will be held in Canton tomorrow night, and then Fort Pierre, Wall, and Rapid City after that. We have a full schedule of those events in this story over on DakotaNewsNow.com.